What does it mean to be a person in the 21st century? Being a person is a lot like being a cell. The only constant is change. The image of ourselves as static things is untenable. Almost all of your cells have to die during your lifetime. Every time your cell setup changes, you're slightly different than before. So a part of you is dying constantly. So what you consider yourself is really just a snapshot. In that sense, our personality functions quite like our cells. Our cells are composed of different biological structures that work together to build up our bodies. So if we are to answer the question biologically, we'd have to dive into those small biological factors that compose us physically. Therefore, being a person requires a multidimensional answer. A personality is composed of layers, different dimensions. Without including those different layers, there will be defects in our understanding of ourselves. Moreover, our personalities are similar to cells in the sense that both are constantly being reconstituted. Imagine driving a car at 100 kilometers per hour while constantly rebuilding every single part of it with stuff that you collect from the street. That is what cells and personas do. The methodology that we use to pick components of our personas in our constant reconstitution process is highly dependent on trying things out. If it doesn't work, try a different thing. And that is what pretentiousness is about. We use pretentiousness to navigate what we want to compose our personalities of. There are different resources which we could pick and choose from what we want to pretend, and a lot of times those resources are pre-structured for us. Like our gender identities. There aren't really a lot of ways for one to actually try out all gender acts, because some pretentious experiments will be socially unacceptable, and that might even blind us from thinking of trying them out in the first place. Now, there are ways in which we can break out of these pre-structured identities and have a bigger set of options, but it's not easy. One of those ways is through friendship. And by that I mean befriending, which is friending someone else with only a pure interest in knowing who this person is. Such friendships are scarce, but can be very evocative. I'm talking about the friendship that Socrates was seeking, a friendship where both partners are encouraged to question their beliefs and understand the failures of their characters. Such friendships enable you to look through the things that you've taken for granted and think whether or not that you made the choice because of the limited resources that you had or because that you actually believed in it. In such sense, friendship's purpose and practice collides with what philosophy is all about. Both philosophy and friendship point out the obvious thing, but what's beautiful about them is that they make you pay attention to such things for the first time. Also, philosophy is the art of addressing your fears and uncertainties, and befriending someone means you're daring to face life's uncertainties and ambiguities and try to work through them, because in order to find answers, we need to observe, and we are much better at observing others rather than ourselves. In philosophy, you don't need to be knowledgeable to practice it. You just need to be passionate about finding answers. And that is what a true friendship journey is all about. It's like you dare to face such ambiguities because you know you have a little support system. But this little support system does big things. It fuels you to be bolder and encounter the biggest challenges and uncertainties in life. Thinking of friendship and philosophy as two sides of the same coin catalyzes our learning process and help us see clearer and link answers to questions better. In such sense, being uncertain is a rudimentary step to unleash answers to the deepest, most challenging questions. It's not because we're doing something wrong that isn't leading our way to direct answers. Philosophy helps us realize that it's a natural consequence of seeking any form of wisdom. Such realization helps us become content with being uncertain, and paradoxically make us feel certain about our uncertainty. The adjectives that we use to describe ourselves are nothing more than just things that we practice until we become. They're not a taken for granted or a born with identity, and it never is. Just like successfully completing this puzzle, you need to do a lot before getting good at it. You need to practice the smaller ones before the bigger ones. And just like when you stop practicing, you start getting worse at solving them, it becomes harder to keep the level that you've reached with a certain virtue you've adapted. And there will always be a higher level puzzle, just like there will always be ways to improve your existing practices. Lastly, those puzzles, once assembled, they come with a great prize, a prize that's worth the wait and hard work. Besides teaching you how to deal with ambiguities, they help you paint a picture of what virtues you want to practice, what your drive in life is, and what goals you want to achieve. And that is the goal of a lifetime and the journey of becoming a person.